Good morning, everyone. This is my persuasive speech, and today I'm going to be talking about learning with technology. Now, a lot of us don't even know what technology is. Us old people, we still call this a cell phone. How many phone calls do you do a day compared to texts, lookups, Facebooks, LinkedIn, news, play games, crossword puzzles? Anyway, you get the idea. That is not a phone. It's an all-purpose communicative device. And we need Generation A, who was born with one in their crib, to come up with a new name for it so it's appropriate and current. Anyway, my talk today is going to be more on why we don't let kids use these things in their classroom. You can ask this a real complicated math problem or a biology problem, or you can ask it about Charles Dickens or the president or where the Grand Canyon is. You can ask it anything and it will tell you. You don't even have to type it, you just ask it. But we don't let kids use this in the classroom anymore. Now, we Americans invented this internet, we invented that cell phone, even though we call it a phone, it's not really. But we invented that, and we invented the tablet. But we don't use it, but other countries are, and their kids are getting ahead of our kids. The problem is rooted in our old-fashioned thinking of what a teacher is. A teacher used to be everything. The entire library was in the teacher's head. Now the entire world's information is in that little thing I just showed you. But we don't keep abreast of what's going on. This has got to stop, and it's got to stop real quick. We're still teaching 1850s methods, and the kids today are just smarter than that. In fact, most kids today are smarter than we are. My 8-year-old granddaughter, if I tell her something and it doesn't sound right to her, she asks Siri, "Hey Siri, Grandpa said blah blah, is that true?" And more times than not, Siri will come back and say, "No, he's full of crap." But the point is, this thing is here, it's not going away, and we're not utilizing it to the fullest to let our kids learn. My other problem with learning with technology, or learning without technology, is we keep these 6-year-olds in one box, 7-year-olds in a box, 8-year-olds in a box, 9-year-olds in a box, in little rows, and they need to be commingling all day, every day. Go to the playground and watch a 2-year-old push his mother away and follow a 3-year-old up that ladder. Kids don't need us to learn most things. So we've got to start treating kids like little adults because they know more than we do right now. I'm almost convinced. Now, don't get me wrong, this will only work if we get devices in the kids' hands when they're about 2 years old and teach them how to use it and how to look up stuff. We're so worried that they're going to look at something that we think is inappropriate, but if you watch kids, when they come to something that's inappropriate, they shut it off immediately, which comes to the other point. If you don't catch these 10-year-olds and below, if you don't get their attention within 5 seconds, you've lost them. Watch them on their phone. They look at something for 5 seconds, and if it's not interesting to them, they go somewhere else. That's what our teachers should be doing now, is to make sure that when they go on that device, they're looking up something that they're interested in, not something that we're interested in. We can't control every kid's desires and their hopes and their passions. So we need to feed those hopes and passions. And you can do that very easily. You can do 50 kids at a time, as long as you don't make them all do the same problem and come up with the same answer. Let 50 kids have 50 different problems that they're interested in and come up with 50 different answers. But no, that's too much work for us. Too much work. Oh my God, call my union. That's just not the way it should be right now. But the real reason we don't use technology in the classroom is because the rich people that own the education system want to keep us divided and fighting each other and at each other's throats all the time. They were able to indoctrinate kids' parents and their grandparents through the TV. But these young people don't watch TV anymore. They watch their phone or device. And they can't control the content that these kids are getting, and it scares them to death because they're going to have a whole bunch of people here pretty soon, like a quarter of the planet in the next 5 years, that are going to be asking questions. Hey, how come you got all the money and I'm sitting here in poverty? Hey, how come you didn't tell me that the United States has such a terrible, horrible past that we've swept under the rug? Why didn't you tell me all these things? Anyway, the point is, we've got this thing and we got to get it in the classroom, and we got to get it in there now, because these kids are going to drop out of school because we're not letting them follow their dreams.